Please call us during the program in order to help us balance comments.
And now, McCollum Wellness Radio.
In my life there came a time when I had to make a choice. You know, the things just weren't right. I looked around for someone else to blame. I searched and I searched and I reached down inside. And I knew when I found there's a light I can hide. I can be free, I can be free. I can rise above, I can be free, I can be free. I will rise above. When you're all alone and there's nowhere left.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you live from KSCO studio in Santa Cruz. What a beautiful day it is here. I got into my vehicle to drive over here. It said 66 degrees, nice and sunny. Got the ocean breeze coming in. It's beautiful. It's pretty amazing living in a place like this, and then you see everything that people can be stressed out about in their lives and everything that we hear on the media and the news. And, you know, we have a lot to be thankful for, and we have a lot that we need to really pay attention to so that we can continue living our way of life and also make that available for our next generations. And it definitely comes down to taking responsibility for your own actions, for your own health. And, you know, Tom Quinn just was talking about, you know, a lot of very important stuff. But the thing is that if you're not willing to do the research to yourself and actually make the changes, then you're just kind of going along for the ride. And that's fine. That's your choice. It's, you know, the end of the day, I guess, when the second shoe drops, we'll know, you know, what the truth is or isn't. But, you know, I had a patient, we were talking yesterday in my office in Capitola, and she was talking about some kind of medication. I guess a study came out, article came out on Tylenol that says now Tylenol has been deemed safe to take when pregnant for many years. But now a study has come out that says it looks like taking Tylenol during pregnancy, you know, there's a threshold point at which it could be partially responsible for some level of autism. So, you know, there is not one cause absolutely for this. There's a lot, but most of it has to do, in my humble opinion, with the toxicity in the environment not allowing the neurons in the brain to develop correctly. And that's kind of what Tom Quinn's show was about earlier today. But, you know, when we take a look at our toxic environment, I was listening to a show, I can't remember the exact name of it, 8 to 9 this morning on KSCO. And he was just talking about, you know, the planet and how much more and more polluted it's getting and how many more heavy metals and other toxins are getting in our environment that actually get into our body via the air we breathe, the clothes we wear, the food we eat, chemicals and substances we put on our body, and it's not getting better. It's not getting cleaner. They were talking about what happens in the body when you start to get clotting of too many of these foreign products, whether it was some of the oils that the other doctor was talking about, hyaluronic acid, graphene particles, whatever it is. The better your body is, the healthier it is, the more it's going to be able to fight these things off and protect you for it or from it. It's just common sense. You get a glass of water and you start putting a little bit of chlorine in there to kill some of the bugs that might be in the water. The chlorine is if the water's really got giardia or something weird in it, I mean, that water would make you sick. So, and I'm not a proponent of chlorinated water. I'm just making a point here. So if you keep adding chlorine to the water, pretty soon there's so much chlorine that the chlorine is going to do damage to your body, to your liver and kidney, and eventually, if you have too much, it will kill you. So we need to understand that our livers and our kidneys are huge filtration organs in our body, and they need to function well in order to keep us healthy. In a few weeks, I'll be talking more about a condition coming up called SIBO, S-I-B-O, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I'll tap into it a little bit today, but we're going to hear more and more and more about this, and there are going to be a lot of shotgun handlings for it. But it's unless you really take a look at the upstream causes and the downstream deficiencies in detoxifying, it's going to be very, very difficult to handle. So that's called SIBO or CO if it's a yeast or mold overgrowth in your small intestines. And it's very common. There's some groups that say up to 90% of the population have it in the United States. It's not so prevalent in Europe. And a lot of the intestinal permeability and the obesity in Europe is not anywhere near what we have. One of my friends, we were talking on Dr. Pompa's phone call on Tuesday, and Dr. Lee has a large practice back east, and he said, I had a patient just come in from, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Prague or some country back over in Europe across the pond. And she was saying, I cannot believe how many drugs this country takes and how obese everybody is. We eat more than you in Europe and we're less fat than you. Why is that? And, it's really kind of interesting because as this conversation went on the other day in our group of doctors discussing this, and as we will be discussing more, we're putting together a platform so that we can help anybody learn about this and start to do something to get rid of it. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's a pretty fascinating subject. If I have time today, I'll touch on it a little bit. But this discussion reminded me of a patient of mine that came into the office. It's been about 15 years ago now because I was at my other practice on Seabright at the time. I'm in Capitola, in Brown Ranch now. But he was from Germany. And he came in, his wife had referred him in. She was from Brazil, believe it or not. So he came in and we were talking about his symptoms and, he had some back pain at the time. And I asked him about any medications he's on. He goes, I'm not on any medications. And I go, okay, well, that's good. He goes, you know what? I am really blown away because when I moved into this country, every bathroom I go into has a box on the wall that opens up with shelves in it and has a mirror on front. I go, yeah. He goes, well, it's called a medicine cabinet. I go, yeah. He goes, well, we don't have medicine cabinets in Germany. I don't know what the heck this is. So you buy this cabinet, you fill it up with medicine? And I thought it was so funny and bizarre and true and sad all at the same time because we have been conditioned, whoever invented the medicine cabinet as a place to put medicine. So you wake up, obviously, or you grow up, obviously, knowing there's a place that you keep all of your drugs, pharmaceutical drugs. You keep your street drugs somewhere else hidden. But I thought that was interesting. And he, so many of my patients come in and they go, I don't want to take any drugs. I don't want any surgeries. I want to stay away from any needles as much as I can. I don't believe in them. And it's really great to hear. But I got to tell you, I have one gentleman right now that was in a pretty severe car accident, and he's got a lot of tension in his upper back, his neck, even his low back. The spinal cord has got some twisting in it, and he's had something like this before. He goes, I'm in pain, I'm burning up and down my body, but I don't want to take any medications. I know you can help me. Will you help me? And I'm kind of going, well, I'm glad he has so much faith in me. But it's really his body he should have faith in, because your body has the greatest physician that ever lived, and it lives right inside of you. And that thing is called your innate intelligence, or you as a being know how to keep your body healthy. The problem with our body not being able to get healthy is actually just one simple thing. And if you take a look at a calculator and you start adding up numbers, but it has a held down 4, let's say, and you add 2 plus 2 and it comes up with 8. And every time you add 2 plus 2, it comes up with 8. You add 4 plus 6, it comes up with 14, because there's a hidden 4 held down in that calculator. The calculator's not making a mistake. It's just there's an invisible 4 being held down that nobody sees. So there are 3 major areas that we can have that hidden digit in our body making us sick, or in our life. One is mentally, obviously. The other is chemically, and the third is your nervous system, neurospinal issues from accidents, injuries, traumas. We've all had them. Learning to walk, we probably fall down 1,000 times and on our rump learning to walk when we're a kid. If 50% of us fell off of something 3 feet or higher and landed on our head before we were 6 months old, rolling off of a changing table or something like that. So there's so much damage to the nervous system, and if that's twisted bone is putting pressure on your nervous system, either directly on a spinal nerve, or if it's twisting a soft tissue element that's torquing that nerve, the communication can't go correctly. So that's got to be addressed. But again, let's call that a held down 4. Then you've got a bunch of chemicals in your body from 4 generations of heavy metals through mom's umbilical blood. You've got all of the chemicals. We know that 287 chemicals have been found in umbilical blood of babies not even living outside of the womb yet. And then so we now have a chemical imbalance in our body that will cloud our innate ability to heal itself. And then, of course, the mental emotional, which I think I already mentioned. But it was interesting. I had another patient the same day. That was a friend of mine at a breakfast meeting I had. And we were talking about life and how things are changing. And he said, growing up, I had 2 friends. They were brothers. And these poor kids grew up with their parents' point of view was life is incredibly hard. You endure life as much as you can, and then you die. And so I just want you to know, kids, you just get into life and endure life. So I'm going to take a short break, and we'll come back and discuss this a little more. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk to you soon. McCollum, and I would like you to listen to a couple testimonials from my patients about our new TRT machine. You should come try it, but here's what they have to say.
Hi, I'm Lauren Spencer, a local realtor. Lately, I've had trouble with my feet, and I'm an avid walker, avid biker, avid golfer. And my feet were aching all the time. And I tried Duncan's TRT machine, which is an amazing stem cell machine that rejuvenates the cells. And my feet, I've had like 3 or 4 sessions with the machine and my feet are like new, no aches, no pains. It's a miracle.
Originally, I heard about it on the radio and I was a little apprehensive, but I came in and got the treatment, and miraculously, I mean, immediately I got relief. And we're talking about 3 years of 24/7 neuropathy, all kinds of pain, medical doctors. And in one treatment, it changed my life. I mean, it gave my life back because I was able to function and do things and not be in excruciating pain and get some sleep. And I'm going to continue to come back, and I highly recommend it to anyone.
So call today for your $49 introductory special on the TRT machine to see if it works for you. Call 831-459-9990. 831-459-9990. McCollum Family Chiropractic. Hi, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I have this amazing patient, Gayleen, here, who walked into our office, well, barely walked into our office.
Hardly able to walk and bent over. And within 3 visits, I was standing up straight, walking. I couldn't believe it. That's never happened to me before. It's been a very rough road, but we're getting there, and I'm very grateful.
And you had 2 back surgeries as well, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, in 1995. Yeah.
And so they didn't really solve your problem.
No, they didn't.
And you came in, we did some stem cell treatments on you and some chiropractic on you, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're happy.
I'm happy. Everyone here is just awesome. They're all here to help you. They're all so sweet.
You should listen to Gayleen, see if we can help your health.
That's right. Anyone that needs help, please come in.
Thank you.
The truth is right in front of you. You will see. It will make a better road. You search and you reach down inside. And you'll know when you find there's a light you can't hide. You can be free. You can be free.
Okay, great. Dr. Duncan McCollum back. That's Steve Funderbird's song, You Can Be Free. We Can Rise Above with just a great song, and I'm so glad to be able to use it. Steve's a good friend of mine. We've gone through many, many things together in our life, and we are both doing well now, which is awesome to hear. Tony Lindsay's the singer, 8-time Grammy Award winner. So if you want to look up Steve Funderburg, he's got a whole bunch of great songs on any place you find music on the radio. So we were talking before the break. I forget exactly what I was talking about, to be honest with you. But I know that I was talking about, I know about the parents that would tell their kids that life is grueling and you just endure it until you drop. And I mean, I just was listening to it and going, wow. And then my friend said, well, these kids got lucky because they grew up not taking it quite that seriously, but they worked hard and and then, they endured, and then, they're doing okay now. But why not just change the attitude of, wow, I have a great friend, Mr. Awesome, we call him. He owns Showcase Shower Doors. If you never met him, you should go meet him. Chris, he's amazing. We call him Mr. Awesome because every time we ask him how he's doing, he's going, it's great, man. It's getting better every day. Versus, man, life's grueling and it's just, it's going to be terrible till the day I drop. I had another friend that when we used to say, and his name was Mark, we'd go, hey, Mark, how you doing? He's going, great, but getting better. Great, but getting better. That's what he always said. So I changed it to awesome, but getting awesomer. So, the hormones that kick into your body based on your emotions are many. Stress is a cortisol hormone. Cortisol is a stress hormone, which is very, very dangerous to the body. It's great on a short little squirt, and it can be very helpful, but it's not good when it's chronic. And we've been through almost 3 years of chronic cortisol stresses in our life. And I remember early on, there was a patient that came in, and I'd known her for a while. She'd been a patient for a while. And she was like somebody was chasing her. She was coming in. She was so nervous, so scared. She had lost about 10 pounds from being stressed out for the first 2 to 3 months of this whole thing that happened. And I was really concerned for her because I could not get her to quiet down or relax. But we just, cared for her and cared for her, and we were there for her, and we, welcomed her in. And, it was interesting to see her climb out of that shell. And now she's doing great. Every time I come in, she goes, wow, I'm doing really well. Things are great. And it's a perception that's changed, and an awareness that's changed, and an understanding of the stresses in the environment that have, come more down to reality. If you're being chased by a tiger, you can't see, taste, touch, feel, smell, you can't hear them, but they're there. You're constantly on edge, waiting to jump, and that will destroy your body. It will destroy your nervous system, your immune system. It will affect your ability to think correctly. It will damage your digestive system. Why? Because when you're being chased by a tiger, you don't need to digest your food. So during that moment of stress, your digestive system purposely shuts down and shunts all that energy over to your muscles so you can run as fast as you can. Also, you don't have to think logically. You just need to run faster than your friend. So you have to be able to shunt that mental energy over there as well. You don't need to worry about the splinter in your finger, because the tiger is going to digest the toxins in your finger. So your immune system shut down. Once you get away from that threat, then everything normalizes and your digestion kicks in, your immune system kicks in, your cognitive function kicks back in. But when that's shut down for 3 years, a lot of damage is done. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when we listen to the previous show, they're talking about whether you got the jab or not. There are a lot of those fragments that they're talking about. They mention were in the foods. They're put in the injected into the animals before they're taken to slaughter. So, that was kind of eye-opening because, I eat organic as much as I can. And, there's great organic butchers in town. The Pleasure Point Butcher is awesome. Some of the health food stores more of them have organic food than others. But, so if you're not eating organic, then you have a much greater chance of being affected by the same thing that are in those substances that they're persuading you to take. And you're just getting it another way. You're consuming it another way. Even a better reason to have your chemistry working right. So we talked briefly about, the mental factor. You've got to change the way you think. What you think about, you talk about. What you talk about, you bring about. You've got to change the way you think. Start to write down how you see your life in a week, a month, a year, 5 years. You've just got to start doing it. Well, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But one way to make a change for me is to be writing down things or visualizing what I want to see happen. I'm reading books of very interesting subjects that are helping me understand spiritually how I can actually achieve my goals better and be more focused on what they are and pull myself out of the doldrums quicker, so that I can stay focused on where I want to go. So there's a lot of things you can do on the mental side of the triangle. The chemistry, we're talking about everything that's in the foods. I see a lot of stuff coming up on the Facebook page. I can't really read it very well, but those of you on Facebook, thank you for contributing. And of course, this is on KSCO.com radio. You can listen to it on the internet. It's all played again on my podcast, McCollum Wellness Radio podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. And then it will be up on Dr. Duncan McCollum YouTube within a couple days. So if you are listening to this and want more information, or you're interested in giving me more information to talk about, you can always email me at info@mccollumwellness.com, and that will get to me. So anyway, okay, we're really looking at how we can make our body healthier. And because of the constant bombardment in our atmosphere of the toxins, whether it's something you eat, something in the air, something obviously that you would breathe, that gets in the water that we drink, that you're putting on your body as a cosmetic, that they have in the furniture in your houses, the formaldehyde they put in the furniture, the cosmetics that aren't regulated by the government. Anything you put on your body apparently doesn't have to be regulated. It's just an incredible amount of opportunity to become very toxic. So detoxifying is very important. That's something that I can help you with. It's a long process. It's for those of you that are sick, you want to get going on it or rapidly. And those of you that are you think you're healthy, start now, because we know all those toxins get in through the cell wall, they get into the genes, and they turn the bad ones on. Very few people die of old age anymore. They die of some kind of chronic disease. And a lot of it is because the toxic load in our body is not allowing all the toxins to get out of our cells, out of the liver, kidney, bloodstream, lungs, and skin, and our brain, our mental, cognitive thoughts, and they harbor there and they make us sick. So it's really important that we start to become free, like the song "You Can Be Free." You can rise above, but it's just time to make a change. In my office, we have a lot of information we can send you some information on the detoxes that we do. They're not that hard. It's just that you've got to kind of go through it, and you have to be willing to. A lot of it's taking really healthy supplements that aren't loaded with toxins themselves. I'm afraid that, and this has been verified, that a lot of times when you buy supplements from big box stores, including big box health stores, a lot of times the profit margin is the key to the company, and they may get products that haven't been tested for heavy metals or molds or other toxicities like glyphosate, and then they label the product something, product X, and because it's in the news, well, then everybody thinks, oh, I can go to that big box store down the street and buy a jug of product X for $5, where a fourth of it would cost me 20 in a health food store. Well, believe me, you're getting a better product. Why waste your money on something that's shooting blanks? And even in the health food store, you want to make sure that you're getting good products. When we recommend different stuff, basically anything that I recommend will come through the offices of, Systemic Formulas tests all of their products. I think 9 times for heavy metals, molds, hidden infections, not hidden infection. Well, there might be some infectious agents in there, chemicals, glyphosate, but also when the group of doctors and I are looking at, does this company have a good lymphatic drainage product? Or how about the antibacterial product here? We'll send that off to the systemic lab to have it tested. And Dr. Shane Morris is the lab, is the guy that does all of it. And he'll test it for us and go, yeah, no, this is good, or yeah, I wouldn't take it. So, we could just keep the blinders on and just keep rolling along as fast as we can. And many of us will hit the goal line, the finish line, dying of old age or, weakness, but the majority of us will die of disease. Unfortunately, I have a few people that I know are right there, right now. And one of my patients' father passed away last week. Unfortunately, he had pneumonia, and she came in with really bad back pain and was getting care. And then I didn't see her for a week, and she had to go out of town because her father had contracted first the thing that we talk about, that dreaded whatever it is, and then he got pneumonia and was in ICU. And I go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Well, then of course I had to ask whether or not he received the jab or not, and she said, yeah, all 4. And I just kind of shook my head and I didn't say a thing. I go, okay. And then a week later he was gone. So I thought that was supposed to protect you from that, but obviously we know it doesn't. And if you go to the website of the CDC and VAERS, whatever they're saying, it's like times 20 what's really should be reported, apparently. So I'm getting a little bit off of my storyline here, so I'll jump back on it. But I think I will, first of all, talk about the TRT Shockwave machine, which you'll be listening to a couple more testimonials on it. It's so amazing. There's so much more information coming out of it. Right now, we know that anytime you injure your body, and this is what the Shockwave simulates, is an injury. The first 1 to 10 days is a inflammatory stage. And so things swell up purposely. The body wants to open up the tissue, open up the blood vessels to bring chemicals in, your own stem cells and something called exosomes that come out of your cells to beckon the right chemicals to the body. They call it over to the injury and they say, hey, we need some some lumber here. We need some nails and screws over here. So that's what these chemicals do, so your body can repair itself. So that happens day 1 to 10. Then day 1 to 30 is the proliferation period. That's where they start bringing in all of the material. And then day 1 through 300 is the remodeling stage where the fibers are laid down. So it's kind of like you dig up your garden. That would be the inflammation period. You're making holes, you're fluffing the dirt up. There's air spaces between it, 1 to 10 days. Then you're putting in the seed, 1 to 30 days. Then you're growing your crop, 1 to 300 days. So that's how the stem cells regenerate in your body and create new tissue. Another example is you buy a house, you tear down all the bad stuff, you call up one of the lumber stores, you have them deliver. So the delivery would be the proliferation stage. Then you get all the contractors in to build. That's the remodeling stage. That's how your body heals. And the stem cell machine works that way. And every time you use it, it will cause the inflammation, it will bring in stem cells, and it will allow those stem cells to remodel. How much you need is just a matter of taking a look at the toxic level in your body, how long the problem's been there, how bad it is. And so there's always hope. So we're going to go to a commercial and I'll be back in just a sec.
McCollum here, and I have Pastor Mark with me. He came in and experienced the stem cell machine, the TRT machine, and he wanted to just go ahead and tell you a little bit of his experience. Yeah, I injured my knee years ago from sports and being dumb, and after the first stem cell treatment, after the very first one, I could do a full knee squat, and doctors told me that we want to replace your knee, and my knee would just ache just from sitting, and you probably experienced that if you have knee problems, but now, no ache, I can walk without pain, and when I sit, I have no pain, and I just love it. I'd recommend it to anybody. It's terrific. When we looked at your x-rays, your discs and your knees look pretty good, too. Yeah, they're improving so much. I just love it. I can't wait for my treatment every week. Highly recommend it to anyone. So you'd recommend they do the $49 special to see if it will work for them? Oh, absolutely. That's what drew me in with the $49 special. I thought, I got $50 to spend to just see, and it certainly has paid off. Call 831-459-9990. Thanks.
Hey, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I have this amazing patient, Lauren, here, and she had a few things to say.
Hi, I'm Lauren Spencer, a local realtor, and I've been seeing Duncan for years now. I had a biking accident and he's been adjusting me since then, and it's been amazing. But lately I've had trouble with my feet, and I'm an avid walker, avid biker, avid golfer, and my feet were aching all the time. And I tried Duncan's TRT machine, which is an amazing stem cell machine that rejuvenates the cells. And my feet, I've had like 3 or 4 sessions with the machine, and my feet are like new, no aches, no pains. It's a miracle. So I really highly recommend Duncan and his chiropractic services, but also that TRT machine. You got to try it.
Wow, thanks, Lauren. That was awesome. So we still have the $49 special. Come on in and see if it works for you. Thank you.
Just try to remember the strength that we find. Oh, yeah. We can be free. We can be free. We can rise above. We can be free.
Yes, we can. We can be free and we can rise above, but it comes with educating yourself. Don't believe what you hear. Look it up, but you got to know your sources too, because you can, listen to any person on the radio, the TV, including me and the guy that spoke before me, and it's important to do the research yourself, or at least try to. And maybe you don't have time and you go, no, I've been listening to this guy long enough. I believe he knows what he's talking about. If you do anything to improve your health, you're going to be better off. You drink 1 more cup of water a day, you're going to improve your health. You take a little bit, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in water once a day, you're going to improve your health. There's so many baby steps that you can do. Some of us can do those baby steps. Other of us need to systematically go through changes that will help our body change dramatically. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call on my phone. Somehow or other, I'm going to have to learn how to lock my phone up during my radio show. At any rate, so I think that what I would recommend is just taking a look at where your health is right now. What really kind of dig deeper than I would like to be able to bend down and pick up my babies, or I'd like to be able to my grandchildren, or walk up the steps in Seacliff or in Capitola, or I want to take a hike, but I just can't because my back hurts, my knee hurts, my leg hurts, whatever it is. Take a look at what quality of life you are missing out on by having those handicaps. Now, that could be physical, which I was just talking about. It could be chemical, where you don't have the energy, your adrenal glands are shot, you're over stressed with cortisol, you're too heavy because of the cortisol, your insulin isn't working, you're pre-diabetic, your joints are worn out from the diabetes, your heart or lungs or liver or kidney, large intestine are all damaged from, years of perhaps toxins, perhaps stress, perhaps of diet you've been on, the alcohol, the drugs. And just imagine what it would be like to have those be better by 10%. What if you could improve that by 10%? Would that make a difference in your life? What if you could improve it by 20%? You listen to Gayleen talk about her backache when she could barely walk when she came into the office. And she'd had 2 surgeries 20 years earlier. And she'd just been in chronic pain. And, working chiropractically and stem cell with her. We had to do both. She's doing great. I just saw her and her husband Friday for maintenance. And, it's just so great to see people change. But, if you're doing the same thing and not getting the result you want, it's time to do something different. And sometimes my office is that change. Sometimes it's not. One thing I can tell you is I don't accept all patients. Even now, we are pretty much, it's very difficult to get people in within a day or two when they call. My staff tries, then we can take you down and put you on like a, next to call list if something frees up. But, people calling, we'd love to get them in that week and, or even the day if we can. And if you're in a lot of pain, we'll do everything we can to do that. But I encourage you not to just go by your symptoms. I had a guy come in the other day and he had, I think it was a knee problem. Yeah. And I ended up, when I did an evaluation of him, I found his low back was very, very sensitive to touch, the third lumbar vertebra. And I mentioned to him, it looks like you have a neurospinal problem condition here as well that can be affecting your knee because the nerve that comes out are right there, crosses the knee and controls the muscles across the knee. And I asked him if he would like me to evaluate that while he was there. And he said yes. So I ended up taking a x-ray of his low back. I could not believe how damaged it was. And he said, well, I don't have low back pain. And I said, well, I understand. There's many functions to a nerve. Only one's pain. Another part of that nerve goes to vibration, hot, cold, limb position, organ function, numbness, all these different things. Senses telling you can feel the grounds and stuff like that. So depends on what part of the nerve is being pinched, and maybe it isn't even making a problem yet. It goes to all those organs, like it went to his prostate, his large intestine, his bladder, colon, same as the large intestine. And he goes, well, I don't have any symptoms. And I go, I understand. Have you ever had a toothache? And he said, yes. I go, what happened? Well, I woke up in the middle of the night with a terrible toothache. And I go, how was that? How did that affect you? He goes, it was terrible. I couldn't sleep. Advil didn't even help. I couldn't get to the doctor fast enough, and the dentist. And he got me in and he gave me the painkiller. He said he couldn't even fix my tooth for a week. So I had to basically suffer for a week with that tooth. And I go, what did he discover? Well, he discovered that I had a big cavity in my tooth that had finally hit the nerve root. And I go, yeah, exactly. See, that's the way this works in your back. You can have a spinal injury, spinal decay, which is wearing out the disc. Finally, it puts enough pressure on the nerve to cause the damage. And oftentimes we catch it in time, but sometimes it's, I hate to say, almost too late. And then, the options are, of course, chiropractic. And now we have this amazing option of the stem cell machine that's very, very helpful. And so then, you could do some injections of PRP, which is much more expensive, platelet-rich plasma. They take your own plasma out, your own blood, and they centrifuge out the red blood cells and put the concentrated platelets in there. You could get your own stem cells drawn out of your hip bone and injected into the area. You could go out of the country, which isn't FDA approved yet, but they harvest the cells and grow them a lot. They propagate them so that they're more in number than normal. And then ultimately you have surgery as an option. Hold on one sec. Okay, I'm back. Realized I didn't plug my cell phone in to my computer here, and it was going to die, and I don't want that to happen on you if you're listening. So at any rate, this gentleman came to understand that even though he wasn't having symptoms yet, his spine was in a position that one of the discs was almost completely gone. And, I gave him the options of just trying to get the pain handled right now, or you could also we could do something chiropractically for you so that we could get the joint moving and save it for as long as we can. He chose to do only the stem cell machine at that time, and that was okay. Maybe once we get him that fixed up, he'll decide he has to do something else, and maybe I didn't explain it well enough. It's so new. Only 11% of the people in the United States have ever gone to a chiropractor. That's crazy to me. And about 5 to 7% go on a regular basis. So the rest of you out there, hello, come in and try the $49 special, find out about our office. I just interviewed this amazing doctor yesterday, just coming out of Life Chiropractic College. She's very, very friendly, very knowledgeable. And, you know, one thing she said, wow, your staff is so nice. And, you know, I get that from my patients all the time of how great our staff is. And, you know, we work really hard to find people that are caring enough to help our patients come in. Because when you come in, you're usually in pain. You've been in pain for a long time. You've tried just about everything. You've given up on most anything. And you just came in there as a last ditch effort. And sometimes you don't even want to be there. So we need to be able to understand that and go, okay, listen, welcome to the office. Let's see if we can help you. I never charge to talk to anybody about their condition. If I think I can help you, I will discuss anything to move forward. And if I don't think I can, I will try to find the best option for you and refer you to somebody that I think would help your condition. And we do not accept everybody in our office, especially now because of being more or less on a waiting list to get people in. Some people are better served at different type of offices, but if you're really interested in getting healthy, then you know we will, and we think we can help you. We'll discuss what it would take to get you there. All right, so call my office 831-459-9990. Come in for the $49 special. That's the easiest way. We'll talk about your health. We'll do a TRT treatment on your limb if possible, or wherever it is. If you've had a cortisone shot within a month, we can't do it. You don't want to be on NSAIDs when you come in. And there's a couple other criteria. You know, we don't want to do it over an area of a pacemaker or those types of things. But we're very, very thorough in finding out whether or not it's something that you would qualify for. So I want to just briefly talk about SIBO, small intestinal bowel or bacterial overgrowth. You're going to be hearing a lot of it if you haven't already. There's also a version called CO, small intestinal yeast overgrowth. And the small intestine connects the stomach to your colon or your large intestine. Your small intestine is basically supposed to be sterile. So foods come into the mouth, you start to chew them up, saliva gets mixed with them, starts to break down the starches, goes down the gullet or the throat to your stomach, where digestive enzymes are emitted and hydrochloric acid to start to break down the proteins. And then as you're chewing that, something called a bolus is formed, and that emulsifies or breaks down the food products so it can go into the small intestine. And that's where it's got to be very acidic for the first 12 inches. That's where your calcium is absorbed. And oftentimes people that take beta blockers or Tums and these kind of things, they're destroying the function of the small intestine. It causes more and more problems. But what it does by throwing off the small intestine, it will allow the bacteria that's never supposed to be in there, to stay in there. There's a few things. Food poisoning is one of the greatest factors here. People get food poisoning, and then about 3 to 4 weeks later, they get bloating, and they get bloating after meals. This is one of the telltale signs of SIBO. So you get bloating. You eat certain foods with sulfur in it, like cruciferous vegetables or things along that line, and you bloat. It loves to have a glutinous, or grains is another thing that will set it off. There's something called high and low FODMAP diets. High FODMAP, you can look that up, will cause it to bloat. But it also, lifetimes of antibiotics can cause this. And so the small intestines is the small intestine, again, attaches the stomach to the large intestine. And in there is this incredible thing called the MMC, or the migrating motor complex. And it's kind of cool. At night, there's different times, about every 2 hours, a migrating motor complex comes through. It's like a street sweeper, and it sweeps your intestines clean. And a lot of times the migrating motor complex can be damaged by drugs, especially by food poisoning, by chemicals, by stress, heavy metals and other pollutants. But this migrating motor complex gets shut down, or it can't do the job efficiently. So if you have a street sweeper, the only place I know that has them is Capitola. Sometimes when I come to work in the morning, I'm behind a street sweeper. And that's like what the migrating motor complex is. It sweeps the intestines clean. But when it doesn't work, and one tip you can do is give yourself a 10-hour window when you don't eat. So don't eat right before you go to bed, sleep all night. That's when the migrating motor complex is supposed to do its the most. And then when you wake up in the morning, you want to make sure that you stay away from certain foods. And I think really you should look it up. Pay attention, because there's going to be a lot of false narratives out there. A lot of people jumping on the bandwagon saying, do this, do that, do this. But if you don't start with the brain, the neuroendocrine system, the hormones in the brain, toxins in the brain, hidden infections in the mouth and the wisdom teeth or root canals, all the way down even to breast implants that can have hidden infections in them. All of these things, digestive issues, bad or little acid in your stomach, you've been taking antacids, and or you have weak digestive function, all of those things are going to affect this small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So now at that point, everything gets messed up that goes further down the intestine into the large intestine. And if you're not having 2 to 3 bowel movements a day, then your plumbing is plugged up, and it's going to back up just like your kitchen sink would. It's going to back up into your small intestine and such. Okay, I'm out of time, I just realized. So really appreciate you all. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you next week.
We will rise. We will rise above. We will